Good evening. This is BBC Newsline. The headlines this Monday evening. Roads impassable and visitors rescued from the Marble Arch caves after flash flooding in Fermanagh.
When the guides are saying this isn't normal, we haven't seen this before, and you know that you're in a cave that the two exits, the entrance and exits are flooding with water, you definitely think, okay, this isn't a good situation to be in.
As the Open Championship comes to an end, one big question remains: when's it coming back?
I think there's absolutely no doubt that this competition will be back in Portrush at some future point, maybe sooner than we might think.
We've also been finding out if the crowds have boosted local businesses.
The majority of the feedback, actually 100% of the feedback, has been the people that have been in our store here on Main Street will be back and will be bringing their families.
Northern Ireland's chief social worker at the time of the pandemic has told the COVID inquiry about staffing pressures in the care sector before COVID even began. And what's thought to be one of the world's largest private collections of accordions goes under the hammer in Belfast.
In sport, we'll hear from the Open golf champion Scotty Scheffler and from Rory McIlroy, who was left to wonder what might have been at Royal Portrush.
And after the wettest July day on record, our weather for the rest of the week is showing signs of improvement. I'll have all the details at the end of the programme.
Hello, you're very welcome to the programme. I'm Catherine Morrison. It is Monday, the 21st of July. Well, a clean-up operation is underway in parts of Northern Ireland after one of the wettest July days on record yesterday. Fermanagh experienced some of the worst of the rainfall, with some flash flooding in the west of the county, so much so that visitors had to be rescued from the Marble Arch caves after heavy downpours caused water to cascade into the site. Just look at these pictures. The steps up to the exit became a virtual waterfall. Our Southwest reporter Elaine Mitchell has more.
A date night with an unexpected end for a couple from Donegal.
Well, I think when she said she was planning a secret surprise date, I didn't think she really had gone to that much extensive bother, and that wasn't what I was hoping for. But it was a very dramatic day for sure, and you know, as the footage that people have seen, you know, it was pretty intense.
Could see the weather report saying it was going to be a bit showery, so we decided we would do the Marble Arch caves, just kind of because we thought if it rains, at least we're in the caves, we won't get wet. And that quickly turned, kind of in the end of the videos that we put up on social media, you hear me screaming, and it's not screaming from fear, it's the freezing cold water hitting you and soaking you through. And then I think Alistair, my husband, screamed more than I did, which people thought was hilarious.
While the pictures were dramatic, the manager of the caves says there was no real danger.
No, there's no danger to the visitors yesterday. I suppose it was surface water that was coming in. This cave system, there's 3 rivers that lead from Culca Mountain down into the cave. So the water levels in the cave itself wasn't extremely rising, and it was the extreme surface water level that affected the cave yesterday from above ground and just washing in.
The heavy rain had been forecast, but the intense flash flooding still took people by surprise.
Well, yesterday we had torrential rain, and I mean it was almost biblical. The amount of water that was literally flooding the whole of this side.
And today some businesses are counting the cost.
If we can't get some sort of opened as soon as possible with minimal cost to us to try and get it up and running, then I can certainly see that we would struggle to open it. It could be in the excess of 15, 20 grand if we haven't to put everything out of our pocket again, if everything needed to be replaced. So, and that's just the start. So, but I'm trying to stay positive and think that, you know, we'll get through. And us climbers, normally we like a challenge, but this is a challenge I could probably do without.
Elaine Mitchell, BBC Newsline in Enniskillen.
And there was traffic disruption in other parts of Northern Ireland as heavy rain continued to fall throughout the morning. The M12 at Craigavon was closed due to the flooding, and there were long delays in the area this morning. There was also flooding at Blacks Road near Dunmurry. Well, the final day of the Open Golf Championship avoided the rain. It was a sunny and dry end to the tournament on the north coast. And the head of Tourism NI says the success of this year's event will help the event return to the north coast soon. American Scotty Scheffler eased to victory yesterday evening, with Rory McIlroy finishing 7th. We'll have much more on the golf later, but first our correspondent Mark Simpson reports on the prospects of the Open coming back.
There was plenty of support, but no glory for Rory. For the first time, an American won the Open at Portrush, which was good news for those making the long journey home across the Atlantic. Are you happy with the outcome?
Well, yes.
Hope you've spent plenty of money here.
We've spent a lot.
For Alabama.
We've got at least 5 bags on the bus.
Yes. Thank you all for visiting. Have a safe journey home.
Portrush, the golf course, the hospitality, the town, everything has been spectacular for the last few days. And it's a great advertisement for golf in Ireland in general.
I always find that golf is amazing because it doesn't matter what country you're coming from. When everybody comes together, they come together for the game of golf.
The people are great, Irish people. I know it from football. They're always great fun. So, no, it was a good time.
We have watched the Open on television for more than 20 years. And finally, we are here. It's I can't really explain it. It's goosebumps.
Have you really been walking around a golf course all day?
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and we've had to hear him whinge.
Yeah, absolutely, all day.
You hurt your foot?
Yeah.
And you still decided to come?
Oh, I couldn't miss it, wouldn't miss it for the world. I would have cut the foot off before I didn't come.
Northern Ireland is just a wonderful place, welcoming people, and this venue is truly fantastic.
The Open is due to come back here sometime within the next decade. The question is, exactly when?
Well, the feedback from the RNA is, in their view, this has been an absolutely outstanding success, and I think there's absolutely no doubt that this competition will be back in Portrush at some future point, maybe sooner than we might think. But they didn't say that. That's my assumption. But it's certainly from their perspective, from our perspective at Tourism and I think from all of the partners that we work with, things could not really have gone better.
Here at the 18th green, it'll take a while to return things to normal. But very soon, members of Royal Portrush Golf Club will get their course back. Mark Simpson, BBC Newsline.
And with all of those visitors, and I think Mark must have spoken to most of them across the week, did traders and businesses get the boost to their takings that they were hoping for? Our North East reporter Maria McCann has been finding out.
They came for the golf, but stayed, shopped and even sampled some Northern Irish delicacies too.
We've had the most wonderful experience with people that are just so lovely and generous and offered us 15. Do you know what that is? 15 is like a very special dessert. It's apparently only served here in Portrush.
Tourists from across the world called into Alice's family gift shop last week.
Yesterday we had people from Argentina, we had people from France, we had Canadians, we had Americans. 100% of the feedback has been the people that have been in our store here on Main Street will be back and will be bringing their families. And it's just magical to meet all those people and to hear what they have to say about our small town.
It wasn't just 15s that were popular at this bakery.
We had to hire more staff to be open longer, of course. But yeah, we have to make definitely much sausage rolls because that was our bigger seller. And 15 tray bag was very popular too.
So many visitors who were here for the golf still haven't left yet, and businesses are buzzing from last week. The town feels busy today, despite it being a Monday and raining.
So compared to 2019, way better. We have done very well this week from Trog's point of view.
So it has been a really positive week, but you would like some changes next time the golf's held here?
Our biggest bugbear this time round was the car park situation in town. All the car parks been closed for the week, and East Strand especially been closed for 4 weeks. So it would be my prayer that next time round the RNA can get a different system where the car parks are still utilised by the town.
But despite the car parking issues, businesses in the town bought into the event.
I think that the fact people could come out, the RNA made that concession, that seems to have made a difference. There was definitely people going in and out. the non-golfers maybe more than the golfers. And I think the fact that ticket-wise, I met people that had a ticket for Tuesday and Thursday. So they were, what do we do on Wednesday? So they were travelling around.
It's not yet known precisely when the Open will next return to Portrush, but traders here are already looking forward to it. Maria McCann, BBC Newsline, Portrush.
And as soon as we know, you'll know. Now, still to come on the programme, we're in Warrenpoint as tens of thousands of musicians descend on the town for the Ulster Fleadh. The UK COVID inquiry has heard how Northern Ireland's care home sector had a fragile workforce compounded by poor wages as it entered the pandemic. The inquiry, sitting in London, also heard of the confusion over the distribution of PPE and how some care homes couldn't cope with the responsibility of testing. Our health correspondent, Mary-Louise Connolly, has the story.
There are so many difficult, even unbearable aspects of the pandemic, including how men, women and staff coped inside care homes, what steps were taken to protect them and how that information was communicated is something the UK COVID inquiry is probing. Among the issues, PPE. Distributing it among the care sector was the responsibility of health trusts.
And I remember someone saying, "Are you saying we have to share our PPE?" And I said, "It's not your PPE. This is a resource for Northern Ireland."
Professor Sean Holland was chief social worker at the time. He accepts officials didn't get everything right, all hampered by a workforce short of 1,400 key staff.
Those are often low wage, indeed minimum wage jobs and zero contract hour jobs, which then leads to a churn within that workforce. So there are a few different elements, all of which combine to give a fragility to the social care workforce.
I'd be keen to hear other providers' thoughts on the department passing over complete responsibility for administering, ordering, testing, data collection,
discharging patients from hospital into care homes, whether surge plans were detailed enough, how the Care Partners scheme was rolled out, and especially guidance around testing, are all sore points among many of the bereaved families.
Is this an example of the department, again, failing to sufficiently engage with the sector when in August 2020 it made significant changes to the testing regime?
No, I don't believe it is. And indeed, the statement that you've just quoted doesn't reflect the reality of the situation.
Social care covers a wide spectrum of vulnerable people. And as this inquiry is highlighting, in order to protect them better, will require a dramatic change in policy. Mary-Louise Connolly, BBC Newsline.
Now to Warrenpoint, where 40,000 singers, dancers, musicians and supporters are expected this week for the 2025 Ulster Fleadh. The events began last night with a ceilidh in Rostrevor Square, and our South East reporter Cormac Campbell joins me now from one of the early sessions. Let's see if we can take a listen in.
Well, this is the Clockmore Ceilidh Band, and this week they're rolling out the red carpet to 3,000 musicians and around 40,000 visitors coming to the south town of Warrenpoint for the Ulster Fleadh. And I'm joined by Jimmy Quinn. He's this year's event organiser. Jimmy, what is this event all about?
This is the final chance for everyone to qualify for the All-Ireland final in Wexford next July, later on in the month, sorry. It's competitions will be held on Friday, Saturday and Sunday, and first two in each competition go through to the All-Ireland, which is in effect the World Championship of Irish Music.
Now, some of these musicians are coming from much further afield than Ulster, and one of them is joining me now. She's originally from Byrne, just outside Warrenpoint, but she's now based, where are you based, Annie?
That's right, I'm now based in Dubai. I've lived there now for 3 years, and I'm delighted to be able to bring 10 musicians over from Dubai with me now to play at sessions and on the gig rig in Warrenpoint this week.
Now, this event continues right throughout the week. The main competitions take place at St Mark's High School over the weekend. Now, it's a semi-final for the All-Ireland Fleadh later this summer, and with that main event taking place in Belfast next year, there are high hopes that Warrenpoint could host a future All-Ireland Fleadh.
Cormac, thank you. It sounds like a great week ahead there in Warrenpoint. And staying on that musical note, what's thought to be one of the world's largest private collections of accordions is going under the hammer at an auction house in Belfast. The instruments, more than 700 of them, were collected over decades by the late musician Ken Hopkins. And going up for sale, they were all stored at his home. The BBC's Ireland correspondent Sarah Garvin has been to see the collection.
A decades-long passion for accordions has resulted in one of the biggest private collections in the world. Known to many simply as the Accordion Man, Ken Hopkins collected and restored the instruments for most of his life. Following his death last year, his prize collection is now under the hammer in Belfast.
He absolutely loved accordions and it became an obsession. He was a musician himself, an incredible accordionist, and he started purchasing accordions and going to shows and auctions, and it just escalated to this now.
It took 5 trucks to move the instruments, all 750 of them, from Ken's County Down home, where they lined every single room.
The house was just absolutely packed with them. You would arrive down and there'd be like a coach load of people out the front, and they would be just parading up and down through the house to see the collection. So it was like an accordion museum.
But without the space to store so many instruments, his children want them to go to homes where they'll be played and appreciated. And of course, the irony is you don't play the accordion.
Not a note in my head. Couldn't play it. I've had all the singing lessons, guitar lessons, piano lessons, but can't play a note.
The auction house is already getting interest from potential buyers all over the world.
It's the first time we've ever had anything like this. It's been a mammoth task from start to finish, just because of the sheer volume of accordions. We believe the collection to be the largest private collection in the world. We've had people from all over being in contact with us.
Move past all these accordions. So, as you can see, it's handcrafted. It's a dairy constellation, and it has wagons and horses on it. It's absolutely beautiful.
What do you think your dad would make of all this?
He would love all this, you know, he was really a showman. Music's been really a part of our lives, and, you know, every birthday, every Christmas, every celebrations. But they need to be played, they should be played, and they, you know, it'll be lovely to think that there'll be somebody else's birthday playing Happy Birthday, or, you know, and bring more joy, and, you know, as they say, the music will go on.
Sarah Garvin, BBC News in Belfast.
Oh, what an amazing collection. Now, Stephen is back from Portrush with more on the Open and a great week on the North Coast. Stephen.
Catherine, you know this was a brilliant event because everyone in Northern Ireland was smiling. Everybody seemed to be happy. Yes, what a week, what a winner, what a truly memorable sporting occasion. The only thing that could have made it better, if Rory McIlroy had lifted the famous claret jug instead of the champion Scottie Scheffler, as it was. The world's best player won on one of the world's best golf courses, and he absolutely deserves it. The American, who was full of praise for Royal Portrush, is an unassuming, quite reluctant star of the sport, and he eased a victory by 4 shots.
It's hard to describe what it feels like because, yeah, I don't feel any different because I've won a golf tournament. You know, this is not the be-all, end-all for me, but I'm extremely grateful for it. I mean, I have, kid you not, I have worked since I was 2 or 3 years old to have a chance to play professional golf for a living. And now I've been able to win tournaments that I just dreamed of playing in. And it's an amazing feeling, and I'm so grateful to be able to live out my dreams. But my faith in my family is what's most important to me. And I try to live as normal a life as possible because I feel like a normal guy. I have the same friends I had growing up. I don't think that I'm anything special just because, you know, some weeks I'm better at shooting a lower score than other guys are.
Yeah, Scheffler's young son stealing the show now, and he just needs to win the US Open to complete the career Grand Slam of all 4 major titles, which Rory McIlroy did earlier this year. Now, Portrush was a special homecoming for the world's #2 player. Rory told me afterwards he cherished the opportunity of playing in such an incredible atmosphere, and he can't wait for the chance to do it again when the Open returns to Northern Ireland.
I've gotten everything I wanted out of this week apart from a claret jug. And, you know, that's just because one person was just a little bit better than the rest of us. But it's been an amazing week. You know, I feel so thankful and just so lucky that I get to do this. I get to do this in front of this crowd. You know, hopefully I'll have one or two Opens left here if the RNA decide to keep coming back. Probably one while I'm still competitive and one while I'm more grey than I already am. But it's been incredible to come back here and to play and, you know, at least feel like I had a chance today going out there. So, yeah, just an awesome week.
Both events here, Opens at Portrush, have been amazing sporting occasions. How hopeful are you that they can come back here very quickly?
Yeah, I mean, I think Portrush has quickly turned into one of the best 2 or 3 venues that the Open goes to. So, talk to every player this week and they won't say one single bad thing about the golf course. From a logistical standpoint, I think the RNA have worked so good with the local government to make sure everything runs smoothly, and yeah, I hope so. I mean, it's only been 6 years since 2019. I'm not sure Portrush is going to have the Open every 6 years. That would be nice, but I would obviously love it to keep coming back.
Yes, everyone very proud of Rory McIlroy, who was holding back the tears there on the 18th hole. Now, Ireland and Leinster rugby player Jimmy Osborne is set to make his British and Irish Lions debut after being named in the side to face the First Nations tomorrow. After that game, the Lions have the remaining 2 test matches against Australia to come. Now, Andy Farrell's team lead the series 1-0 after a relatively comfortable win in Brisbane on Saturday.
To Australia, so they would have been targeting this, so delighted to come away with it. Like, each game's different, and the second game will take care of
our desperation to defend our line and to be in as many of the contests for position as they could.
It makes tomorrow's match with the First Nations, with the head coach's son Owen Farrell as captain, a last chance for players to impress for a test spot.
There is still loads to be played out. There's an opportunity for guys to play in a Lions jersey tomorrow, and there's opportunities for that, potentially those performances to get a return on you know, being involved next Saturday and the week after. So there's still so much to play for us as a team, but for guys individually as well.
So unbeaten down under so far, the Lions are now looking to maintain that momentum. Nigel Ringland, BBC Newsline, Melbourne.
And Nigel will have a report on that game on tomorrow night's programme. Now, Gaelic Games, there was a surprise in yesterday's All-Ireland hurling final as the heavily fancied Cork lost to Tipperary. Cork, who also lost last year's final, had led at half-time, but then a remarkable 21-point turnaround after the break saw Tipperary eventually win by 3 goals and 27 points to 1 goal and 18. It's the county's 29th All-Ireland hurling title. And their manager, Liam Cahill, was being interviewed live on our coverage post-match when this happened, carried away by his victorious side. Now, the Ireland women's cricket team won the first T20 in their 3-match series against Zimbabwe yesterday. Opening the batting for Ireland, Amy Hunter reached 1,000 career runs in the format, and she's still only 19 years old. Set a target of 118 to win. Ireland chased their target down easily with 6 wickets to spare to go 1-up in the series. The second T20 game will be played at Pembroke tomorrow. Yeah, well done to Amy Hunter, a very talented teenager. Derry City are through to the 3rd round of the FAI Cup after a comprehensive win away to Treaty United. Derry, who were runners-up in the competition last season, ran out 5-1 winners. The Northern Ireland international striker Liam Boyce collected the match ball after scoring a second-half hat-trick. Derry City will find out their next opponents tomorrow when the draw for the 3rd round is made. And finally, one other piece of football news tonight. The Republic of Ireland and Brighton striker Evan Ferguson is to have a medical with AS Roma with a view to joining the Italian side on loan. And tonight, that is the sport, Catherine.
Stephen, thank you. Back to the studio after all that excitement, back to Porridge. Well, it's time for the weather now. This is for Mana, swollen rivers. Jeff has the detail. Jeff, that weather warning, it was forecast.
It was forecast and it duly arrived. A really, really wet 24 hours of weather. The weather station at Killowen has records that date back to 1987, and it was the wettest July day there on record by quite some margin. Not the only weather station to set that mark. Also at Murlock, where the records go back to 1968. We had around 80% of our monthly rainfall in just a 24-hour period. So a really wet day, and the good news is that that band of rain, which has brought us all that downpours, is finally going to shift off to the east as we go overnight tonight, staying rather mild, a little bit muggy underneath that blanket of cloud tonight, overnight lows of 13 to 15 Celsius, so a little difficult for sleeping. And that front moves off across Britain as we go into tomorrow and fragments away into nothing. And that is going to be the story as we go through the next few days. As high pressure builds in, it's really going to squeeze the moisture out. So we are going to see some drier days on the way. Certainly tomorrow we'll have a few showers running in on that northwesterly flow, but we will also see some brighter breaks developing. Top temperatures 17 to 20 degrees for Tuesday. But as that ridge of high pressure builds in, you can see the next set of fronts coming through later in the week, gradually fizzling out as that high pressure takes effect. So it means that Wednesday is going to be another drier day again. The flow is starting to come around a little bit more out of the north. Still one or two showers, but drier further east. With that cooler wind direction, it does have an impact on the temperatures, highs of 15 to 19 on Wednesday. And by Thursday, you can see that weak weather front out in the Atlantic, but the feed is now coming up from the southwest, so it's milder, moist air, and we will start to see those temperatures on the rise, 20, 21 degrees across Northern Ireland. So things turning drier, brighter as we go through the week ahead after all that rain.
Not a bad few days ahead, Jeff. Thank you. That's it for now from us. I'll be back with the late news at 10:30. Bye-bye.